Alright everyone, here's patch notes for Teamfight Tactics patch 12.4. This is the patch that launches us into set 6.5. There's a lot of significant changes. I covered, I shouldn't say cover, I glossed over them in the PBE notes video I did before. So I'll cover some of that again here, but I'll probably gloss over it even more than I did that time. Alright. So going through, we got some new Neon Knights Little Legends. I actually love this Abyssin one. This Abyssin one's really nice. Those aren't too bad. Eh, eh, eh. There's going to be a Gizmos and Gadgets Pass 2. Um, Interestingly enough, they're going to actually put this arena into it. This is what they call a Tier 3 arena. The Tier 3 arenas are the ones that you normally have to pay for and get interactables for. And it has it has interactables, so you can click on things and stuff happens. It's actually a really cool arena. I'm probably going to try to unlock this and use this one, but this one will be included in the pass. So it's a worthwhile venture to get the pass if you want this arena. They also have some other arenas that they're adding in. Here's some more little legends. Actually, this one's not bad. So here's the Hex Tech Battle Arena. It doesn't look too bad, but I kind of like the other one more. Your bundles, if you want to spend your hard-earned cash to unlock some things. Ranked, so Grandmaster and Challenger will be immediately unlocked, so you can run for and get those. You need to have at least 200 LP and Master to reach Grandmaster and 500 LP and Grandmaster to reach Challenger. So again, it'll be a race to unlock Grandmaster and Challenger. That's always kind of a big thing with the streaming community, is be one of the first people to get into Challenger. This should be the, is this the awards? No, I don't even understand. Okay. So we're gonna talk about the rewards supposed to be later. They're doing the soft reset for ranked again, so you'll go down one tier. So if you're in platinum, you're now in gold. Let's say you're in gold, you're now in silver. If you're good, if you're a master and above, everyone goes to diamond 4. Oh, that's a rough one. All the way down to diamond 4. Ugh. I would have thought they would have just started everyone at master who was there before, but diamond 4. That's rough. Diamond is not fun to play in. Get the provisional matches. Ranked rewards. Okay, so there was a ranked rewards. Ranked rewards for the first half will be distributed out in a few days. So probably next week, maybe. And okay, so this is the rewards for your rank. Get this little bad boy with different hats. He has hats. I guess I should call it crown. That's a crown. I'm gonna call it a hat. Team Fortress 2. They're hats. Double up and hyper roll rewards. I guess this is the double up and this is the hyper roll. UI changes. So I talked about this before in the PBE, but it's worth talking about again because this is probably the biggest systematic change to the game coming in this next set. There is an opponent matchup tracker built into the game client now. You'll see little identifiers on the right side of who it's possible that you could be up against next round. This is kind of just the natural evolution of their decision-making process on what to do with the matchmaker. Essentially, they had decided that the matchmaker isn't random. That's kind of the first thing I should get out of the way. The matchmaker is semi-predetermined, based on the logic they have set for it. And players have basically found this out like around early set 2, like before I started playing the game. People had already understood how the matchmaker worked. And they were kind of just mentally abusing it, or they were writing it down. And it got to the point that Riot decided that this was kind of unnecessary because they used to make it so that you couldn't use an app to track it. The game, you couldn't automatically have an app in the game that would track it. They'd put a kibosh on that and banned it. But they decided that this had kind of just become such a basic function of the game, that they were going to remove that that part out. So people could use apps to track, and a lot of the higher tier players have been using apps to track it in set 6. Now in 6.5, it's just going to be built into the game. You're going to know the list of opponents you could go up against. I'm like 50-50 on it. I understand it. When they got rid of the ban on it, this was the inevitable. Like, this was going to happen. There was no reason for this not to be built into the game if they were going to give high level players just this clear advantage that they understood. But I do think that, like, there's some value in trying in like understanding how the system works and being able to take advantage of it. I think if they had gone a route to remake the matchmaker and change how it works, then that probably would have been a better way to go to make people have to re-understand how it works. But in reality, like the problem with that is that this matchmaker is pretty good. I think it's probably one of the best. It's basically the best that it's probably going to be. I don't think you're going to be able to design a matchmaker that's much better than what's already in play. Augment match history. Match history will now show augments. Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be built into the what's it called? The outside apps that can pull data from the game and get this information. I'm curious if that's built in. I guess we'll find out. Augmented. So some augments were changed and removed. We'll go through some of those. I'll go through the important ones. And changes were significant, and if you really want to understand them, go to a third-party website. That does a much better job than anything else. Nice call out by Riot, too. Call these sites out that have been doing this for quite some time for people. Augment changes. I'm only going to point out the important ones. Chemical Overload 3 has been removed. Duet now gives you a Senna. That's actually pretty relevant that you get a Senna from that. Lifelong Learning gives you a Syndra. Syndra is incredible. Because this is a Syndra from set... She was in set 5, right? 5.5, one of those two. Probably both. It's the same Syndra. She's a scholar. With Lifelong Learning, she does obnoxious amounts of damage. She plays well into the late game. Absolutely amazing. Especially now that Janna has been removed from the set, Syndra just takes that spot incredibly easily. Despite not being an enchanter. No longer works in PBE rounds. Fair enough. Self-repair time goes from 6 to 7 seconds. Thank God. Self-repair is so annoying when you have Innovator 5 or Innovator 7. It's fine on Innovator 3, but when they hit Innovator 5 and 7, it's like so much HP you have to fight through. Small, gains you a Corki. Corki's not very good, though. It's the only issue. Fix something with unstable evolution. I don't think there's much else to say there. Broken stopwatch will never appear in 1.4 because it's not good in 1.4. It's actually like not really that good at all. It's just kind of annoying. Clear Mind can only appear at 1.4. That's actually a pretty big change, and I'm actually glad they made it because that's where it's most useful and least useless. Clear Mind as you get into the later parts of the game is like kind of frustrating. If you see it late game, it's kind of frustrating because you often already have this bench full of stuff you're trying to make, and then you just get Clear Mind thrown at you. It's like, I can't use this. I can't. I have to run all my gold now and pray I actually hit shit. So it's Junkyard now grants Ezreal. Lol. Titanic Force will rarely appear in the first augment option. That's an interesting one. Keep my eye out for that. Celestial Breathing 3, Omnivamp 25 to 35. So you have to realize this is a prismatic trait. 25% Omnivamp is actually not a lot. And in some ways, it was kind of overkill. It was both not a lot and kind of overkill. Because it often didn't really do much, considering how targeting works in the game. That you often target down one unit before moving on to the next one. So having 20% Omnivamp usually meant that like half your units didn't do anything with this trait. But your carry, who was doing 25%, got good use out of it. So it was kind of frustrating to use. Being 35%, I don't think really changes too much outside of now you 100% do not want to make a Bloodthirster when you run Celestial Blessing 3. Not that you should because it's a prismatic trait and there are probably better out there. Enforcer Soul removed because it was annoying. It was both frustrating to see and frustrating to play against. Um, High-end shopping, extra gold, makeshift armor. They buffed. Not gonna say much about that. Socialite Soul now gains a gold. Weak spot, you can no longer be offered other weak spot. Yeah, weak spot. If you get one weak spot, there's no real point to having another. You've already gotten what you wanted out of it. Woodland Charm will never appear as a third augment. So this is an interesting one because Woodland Charm is both terrible and good. As an early game trait, it's kind of amazing because you have this single unit with infinity health for no reason at all, and it usually gives you a really good win streak. In the late game, though, if that unit gets like it depends on what that unit ends up taking and doing. So if it copies your carry and it comes as a copy as an unitemized carry, it usually doesn't do anything. But if it comes in a copy as a carry that's also a CC bot, that's a different story. Then it's actually kind of crazy. So if you got a Woodland Charm and it copied like a Tom Kench, and that Tom Kench ate something, oh boy, was that frustrating. um, so it was really good in the early game, but getting it to situations like I was describing in the late game is actually pretty tricky, and often made this kind of not very good. So while it's still really good in the late game, it is kind of hard to use and manage and get to that point. Share the Spotlight is now a prismatic trait because it should be with the new set. The new set has a lot more socialites, so you can get way higher level socialite easier, far more easily than you could in the previous set. I believe, yeah, socialite is now up to like 5. You can have 5 socialites in play. So you can imagine if you have 5 socialites and play Share the Spotlight and get 2 champions with completely obnoxious buffs and just go ham. Trait changes, I don't think there's too much to call out here. I will call out a few. Challenger 2 I believe there's 2. Yeah, Challenger 2 gets a nerf because there are more challengers in the early game now. While in the end game it gets a buff because you don't have Fiora and Yone. They're both gone. So getting to those higher tiers like isn't easy anymore. It's not, I don't even know if it's a comp. Like almost all the challengers got removed from the game and replaced somehow. So I don't know. Chemtech. So they took some of the attack speed bonus out of Chemtech and put it into the health regen. My understanding is that this is because they got rid of Mundo. I mean, I'm okay with it. The Mundo Zac frontline was a really good frontline. Mundo was actually kind of bonkers. If you got the right stuff for Mundo, he was unkillable. So I honestly don't really know how I feel about this change. I understand it. I just don't know how useful it's going to be, and it kind of feels like a nerf more than like a rebalancing. Clockwork, there's less clockwork. I shouldn't say that. It's not that there's less clockwork. They want you to be more enticed to play Clockwork 4 when that no one plays. Everyone just plays 2 because it's a useful 2-piece, and getting up the 4 it just is always awkward. Force your stun duration reduced by a second. Colossus has been reworked a bit. So Colossus now has a base extra 1k health. Like the base Colossus trait gives you an innate 1k health. So a 1-star Cho'Gath will come in with 1700 health because they nerfed his base health, and he gets this bonus health from just being a Colossus. Same thing with Galio. Okay, fair. Um, Hopefully this is where Colossus hits to be actually good because the general ruling on Colossus 3 busted, Colossus 3-star busted, Colossus 1-star crap. Hopefully we've hit somewhere where this is a little more balanced, but I can see it probably being difficult. Innovator nerfs across the board because in 12.3 Innovators, patch 12.3 Innovators are cracked. Actually cracked. I'll probably play it tonight. Mutant. So, Mutant, there's now Mutant 7. So, they added a 7 to all the mutants and reworked a few of them. They reworked Cyber. Yeah, Cyber, I've never really played Cyber, but my understanding is that it's good. I don't really have much else to say. They improved scrap logic. Useful. Socialite is now a 1-2-3-5 trait. Um, because there are more socialites, they nerf socialite 1 bonus damage. Fair enough. There's more. It's easier to do. Twin shot is now a 2-3-4-5 trait. Thank God. This is a great fix to socialite, or not socialite. Twin shot. Twin shot is just like so awkward to play higher levels of. So they reworked it from a 2. It was a 2-4-6. Now it's a 2-3-4-5, which I think is great. I like it. Interesting proc chances. The math on this is actually probably very interesting, and I'd be curious to see what the total damage works out to be as you go along these damage numbers. It's interesting. Tier 1 changes. Cassidon is now a mutant scholar, and they changed. I don't think they say it here, but they also changed his ability, so his ability gets a shield. So he's basically kind of the same as he was before because that's what Protector did. It gave him a shield, but at the same time, it also now he's now a scholar on top of that. So like I was worried that Cassidon was actually gonna be total crap. I just think he's not gonna scale into the late game now. He's gonna be okay, but he's just not gonna scale at all. Let's see if we can hit anything. Anything else notable? Swain is now a Hextech Arcanist. Because he's no longer an Imperial, now he's a Hextech. They nerfed his damage because Hextech has kind of been really good on the PBE. I don't know where it landed on the last patch, but they did kind of have to do something with Hextech because it was really strong. Talon is now a Debonair Assassin. I don't think there's much else to talk about here. Interesting. They nerfed the 2-star, but didn't touch any of the others. You don't see that. They don't do that too often, where they just touch the 2-star version. Oh, the VIP. It might be because of the VIP bonus. Now that I think on it, because Talon has had his moments to shine on the current patch, the 12.3 patch, so it might have to do with that. Tier 3 unit. Tier 3 units got a lot of Tier 3 and 4 units got a lot of overhaul. There was a lot of changes made. The biggest one probably being this right here. Echo is now a scrap assassin innovator. If you didn't play Echo in every single comp before, you will now. I don't know why they made him an innovator. It actually kind of just blows my mind that they made him an innovator. Not only did they make him an innovator, they buffed him across the board. I'm just like, why? He didn't need this. They didn't nerf his spell damage, but the spell damage, like, that didn't mean anything. Like, that was just bait for Morello, and. Oh, Joe got damage, got nerfed. I skipped over that. Gangplank buff. Leona, I don't think the change is now she's now a debonair bodyguard, but I don't think it really changes how she plays. She's not going to be your VIP target, I don't think. Malthazar damage nerf. Yeah, Malthazar is like kind of secretly really strong. He does his damage over time is actually like really really high. Vex got buffed for some reason. I'm curious what the numbers are that caused them to do this. Because I don't know. Zach, so this one I was explaining because of Mundo going away. They wanted to have. They needed to kind of buff up the Bruiser frontline a bit, particularly with Chemtech. So they want Zach to be one of the premier Chemtech frontline units. So they reduced the damage of his ult, but he also now takes less damage while ulting. I guess technically that's a buff. That said, the damage he used to do was so high. I forgot he did this much damage. And he would used to target the same unit twice. Oh man, I forgot about that. It was so much damage. Tier 4 units, Braum. On theme that you're going to see for the next batch of units is they nerfed a lot of the CC effects. CC was kind of a little bit out of control in the late game because people would just stack together Orianna, Janna, Yuumi, and Braum. Like, you just played those 4 units and you just CC'd your opponent into oblivion. So, a general theme that you'll find is that now that 2 of those units are gone and they're going to nuff Braum's stun time. Also, Braum 3 now stuns for 8 seconds. I love obnoxious stuns for units like that. Meanwhile, Orianna, since this one's a little confusing. So, with Janna gone, they want Orianna to play more into the shielding role. So they pulled some of the damage out of the damage and added extra shielding. I don't know how that's going to play out, or even if that's going to be useful. You have to remember, these numbers look low, but that's because they also get buffed with Enchanter. So, like, these numbers only look low. They're actually pretty high. They're probably more in, like, the 200, 300 range. Seraphine, this is an Innovator nerf. Seraphine, ugh. Yeah, these are Innovator nerfs. Vi, so Vi, I'm going to explain this as simply as I can, because Vi's been completely redone. Um, Vi is essentially Riven from the previous sets, where she's now kind of a frontline juggernaut style carry, where you're going to actually stack her with a handful of AP and defensive items, and she will just not die and run over everything in sight. I like it. This is actually kind of one of my favorite styles of carries to play because I often open defensive items, so being able to go defensive item into this feels good, man. I like it. All right, tier 5 units. Galio, like I said, the CC, they wanted to reduce a bit of the CC. Um, but the big change with Galio that I want to keep an eye on is this. So don't look at this yet. Look at this. So Galio's Colossal Entrance now gains an additional 5% of his max health as damage. So for every 5% of health on Galio, who is a Colossus, he will do additional damage. It will do, like, for every 5% of health is damage. So when you look at this and you see, oh, why'd they nerf the damage on Galio? It really didn't, because you can just stack him with higher health or get him to 2-star, and then this does tons of damage. Yeah, this is actually a pretty big change to Galio, I think. And I suspect, like, you also have to understand, Galio probably ends up with, like, 2k health. If you get him up to 2-star, it's probably like 2.3-ish health. So that's like well over an extra 100 damage. It's probably close to like 120, 130 damage on top of all this. It's all going to be a lot of damage he actually deals. Jinx, so Jinx has been changed a little bit, particularly this part down here. So they added some armor and magic assist because Jinx has a knack of killing herself. But after she launches her ult, her auto attack targets entirely at random on every shot. And don't forget, it is AoE. Now, is that useful? I don't know. Generally, I find when Jinx is uncontested, she does enough damage to blow through the front. If she's stuck on a frontline unit, does enough damage to blow through that anyway. So randomly targeting is usually not that useful. But on the other hand, as I sit back and think about it, oftentimes the auto attack will kill in like 1 or 2 autos on backline units. So the random targeting will probably most likely leave just a tank standing if Jinx goes uncontested, which is exactly where Jinx wants to be. um, so I mean, obviously, all of these are buffs. These are buffs to make Jinx better. And I know there's been a lot of complaints that Jinx is kind of like meh, especially because she likes to kill herself after her ult. So I'm interested to see what Jinx looks like now. This random targeting thing is something totally new that I don't think we've really seen before outside of like ults, just random auto targeting. I know we've had ults that random target, but I don't recall ever having an auto attack that random targeted. So we'll just have to see what this looks like. I'm honestly interested to see what happens. Kent now has a mini progress bar when you try to feed him, so that way you have like something visually occurring in front of you that tells you you're about to feed this Tom Kench if you let go of that button. Good change. Um, Lastly, Guardian Angel. So I kind of we kind of had a pretty significant discussion last time on Guardian Angel. I'm going to rehash a little bit of it here. Guardian Angel was a problem. I personally, every time, kind of defended Guardian Angel as being, yeah, it's a problematic item, but Riot can easily fix these bugs. This isn't really that much of a problem as people make it out to be. Riot has disagreed with me. um, and I think this set was a lot of evidence that Guardian Angel really was a problem. Uh, Too many units would get stuck in GA state and still be ulting. And that's just been a problem since like set 2. And it got to the point that it's really frustrating for a unit to be in this GA state and these your units just not doing anything while they're dying. Like that's not fun. That's not interesting gameplay. So Guardian Angel has been removed from the game and replaced with Edge of Night. The more I look at Edge of Night and realize what it's doing, the more impressed with this change I am. Guardian Angel effectively is the exact same as GA. Effectively. It isn't, but it's effectively the same. You get the buzz from having a sword and chain. When you go to 50% health, you go in stealth, become untargetable, and shred negative effects, come out of stealth, and gain a 40% attack speed. So, it protects you from being killed because I don't think they note this here. Yeah, they don't note this here, but you can't actually die in one hit if you have Edge of Night on. If you have Edge of Night and you take instant kill worthy damage, so you're above 50% health, but you take enough damage to instantly kill you, you don't die. You go into this state instantly. So functionally it is GA. You just don't die from an instant kill attack. But you also shred the negative effects, which means you can't be burnt out. So when you come back with 1 health, you're not going to be burnt out instantly. You're untargetable, so everything runs away from you. And you gain bonus attack speed, so you can kill what was trying to kill you if it was like a melee combat. This is a very good item, I think, on pretty much the exact same champions that GA was good on. I'm actually like really pleased with this change because it really does not change the functionality of the item while both making it better and more functionally reliable. So I'm actually like really happy with this. And as I say, it's a unique item. You can only equip 1 per unit because this probably would function very awkwardly if you put 2 on. And this is a Radiant version of Edge of Night, I believe. Brink of Dawn. Feels like it. Which gives you a 55% attack speed. Oh, and triggers a second time when you're below 25% health. So I guess... I wonder how that works. What if you take enough damage to go below 25%? So you go from over 50% to below 25%. Does, like, both of them trigger? Do you, like, just go down to 25%? And then it triggers when you take another hit? That's interesting. I actually like this. So, I've kind of rambled on, and this is probably the second time that I've really rambled on about all the changes coming with the set, but just wanted to cover a handful of things. I glossed over all the augment changes and a lot of the new trait and unit changes because I already talked about most of them before. I'm interested in where this set goes, mostly because a lot of the Tier 3 and Tier 4 units have had complete turnover. So the endgame of this set is going to look totally different from endgame of the last set. Completely different. You will not see same comps as you saw last time. You might see same theory, but you're not going to see same comps. So, can't wait to try this out. I might play tomorrow. Depends on what the guys are doing tomorrow. If the guys want to get online tonight, tomorrow, I'll play with them tomorrow. But if they don't, I'll probably play the new patch. Otherwise, you're probably gonna have to wait till Friday unless I'm bowling Friday. We'll see. Anyway, I'll see y'all around. Peace out.